Bob Grant, WABC.
We interrupt the traffic and the commercials and have a brief return to the Bob Grant Show. Carl, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yes, hello, Bob. I was going to Manhattan this morning from the Bronx. You were talking about how we're deteriorating into third worldism. On the train, these young kids supposedly get on the train and start cursing foul language in front of adults like it was nothing at all, like no consideration of other people around them, no concern, just a typical day in the city of New York. And I just think, like you said, it's gradually turning to third worldism. Coming back this afternoon on the subways, I see them spraying the subway stations. Typical New York City that's slowly disappearing. And I called you once before, like I said.
All right, thank you for the call. Thank you, Carl. As soon as anybody uses the phrase, like I said, or as I said, that means conversation's over. No point in hearing it a second time. John, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yo, hey, Bob. How you doing?
What's on your mind, John?
No, I was thinking, every time I hear you on this show, you seem a little edgy. I was thinking that maybe you should smoke marijuana.
And get like you, huh?
No, I'm perfectly coherent and capable, Bob.
Capable of what?
You're a little rough edge.
Capable of what?
Capable of anything you could, I'd imagine, capable of anything that you're capable of.
Okay, you say you're capable of anything.
Well, no.
What hand are you holding the telephone?
My left hand.
Take it and slam it down on the receiver right now.
Okay.
All right, he did. He's right, he was capable. WABC Talk Radio, where do we go from here? What, is it the people with the contest? Are they lousing everything up, Phil? Is that what it is? Is that what it is, Phil? Is that why? That's why. Because of the Mariul contest, huh? Because of the Miserable contest, huh? What a bunch of lowlives. I tell them we're not going to do the thing until 5:40, and they're not interested in anything. They just want that $2,000. Well, I'm going to make Roy Fredericks the winner. How does that grab you? There's no... We don't say employees or relatives of employees and their families cannot be recipients. We haven't made that disclaimer. So I'm going to make Fredericks the winner because if he gets two grand, I'll give him 100 and keep 1,900. It'll be worth it. Right here on WABC. It's like a circus here today. We got a couple of gavones sitting in the studio. I don't know what they're laughing about. They act like they're having a good time. It's a good thing it's dark in there. I can hardly see their dumb faces. We got some people here to my left, look like they're auditioning for a jury in the so-called green room. And they can't hear me, but I'm looking at them and they think I'm talking about them. There's nothing but gavones around here, with the exception, of course, of Laurie Klein. Lovely Laurie is here, our lady of distinction at the controls. One little touch of decency in an otherwise ugly world. It's 21 minutes before 6 o'clock. Bob, you're on WABC. Hello. Hello, Bob. Bob is not there. Bob got tired. Bob had to go to the bathroom. Who knows? Tony, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yeah, Bob.
Yes.
Yeah, but I want to comment about the Amnesty International USA, what they took out an ad today in the papers.
Yes.
I think it's an outrage. You know, they say the death penalty is a violation of human rights. How about the human rights of the victim?
Well, Amnesty International is a wacko outfit, a bleeding heart organization that doesn't really address itself to victims. They don't think about victims. They're part and parcel of that vast army of bleeding hearts who make up the ACLU and other such organizations who have no concern for the protection of society, no concern for the just punishment of criminals who are only here to prey on on the rest of society. It wouldn't be wonderful if those mutants would focus all of their outrage, all of their hostility and aggressiveness and viciousness on nothing but liberals. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Of course, but obviously, I think, like you say, Bob, it's a fantasy.
All right, now, in just a moment, we'll be back to play Mystery History, right after this. All right, I'm actually getting a little nervous here because I want so desperately to give this $2,000 away, but I don't know the way things have been going. We can't count on it. Anyway, is Sylvia the seventh caller?
Yes, Bob.
Okay.
Don't be nervous. I know who it is.
All right, Sylvia, I'm going to ask you... do you want... Well, let me play this one more time,
All right.
just because that's the way they do it at 6:40 in the morning when they play it on that program, okay? All right, we're going to do it real officially right here, right now. Once again.
I think that we have to set goals, and I think that the superstars, I think that the fella that is the person that they read about within their local community is the guy that's got to walk 10 feet tall, because you never know how many youngsters would like to walk into your footsteps.
All right, Sylvia.
It's that great man, Jesse Owens.
You are so right. I thank you, Sylvia.
You're welcome.
Isn't that interesting that Sylvia got the answer? We had all these men.
By the way, Bob, I'm an Italian born, and I've loved Jesse Owens since he won the Olympics.
Well, we had all these men, Sylvia, who couldn't get the answer.
I know.
And yet we had a woman get the answer. Was it the clue that gave you the...
Oh, both clues. You know, I thought it was Adam Clayton Powell early this morning, and then the clues told me it was Jesse Owens.
All right, and the reason for the Jesse Owens question today is 53 years ago this week,
Oh, my.
Jesse broke 5 world track records at the Berlin Olympics, upsetting Hitler's Aryan theory of the super race.
I have chills, Bob. Thank you for telling me.
Well, not at all, Sylvia. And if you care to reward me with a little commission or anything, a little gift, cash or otherwise, you know my address. Sylvia, in all seriousness, you stay right on the line. And let's see. If Sylvia wins, I give Phil the information, and then he gives the information to Pat Ryan. Hey, this is big-time stuff because Pat Ryan's involved. So you stay right there, will you? And again, Sylvia, congratulations. And, of course, every morning at 6:40, they play Mystery History, and inevitably they have a winner at 6:40. And I'm sure they'll have one again tomorrow. I pray that they never go winnerless again, because if they do, that means I am the recipient of all this mishigas. On WABC, that's it. Jesse Owens, not Sidney Portier, as Gabon number 2 said, not Bob Barker, as Gabon number 1 said, and not Joe Clark, as Gabon number 3. But I guarantee you this. If you like to hear a parade of Gabons, you keep your dial set to the Bob Grant Show. Jenny, you're on WABC with Bob Grant. Hello.
Hi, Bob. I just wanted to respond to a couple of things. First of all, that whole father's rights thing seemed... Well, let me just say that, I don't know, any kind of woman that would have the children of a guy and then just decide the next day to up and leave him and go off and take the whole thing to family court so that he can never see them again. This seemed ridiculous to me. And then also, the guy from New York, John, who called, I totally agree. I think you should smoke more marijuana.
You think I should?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you said more marijuana. I don't smoke any marijuana.
Well, you should smoke some, at least some, you know.
Why do you say that?
Because your whole attitude is just a bit uptight. I think you're too uptight.
And marijuana's the answer.
It's the answer.
Do you smoke marijuana?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever seen what happens to your brain waves after you've smoked a joint?
My brain waves? No, I've never seen it.
Well, come to think about it, in order to have a brain wave, you first have to have a brain. Therefore, Jenny, there'd be no way you could have a brain wave. You little twerp. On WABC, let's say hello to Mary. Hello, Mary.
Hello, Bob. Bob, well, I must take this opportunity to call you at this time.
Why are you nervous, Mary?
Because I've been waiting for about 20 minutes.
That makes you nervous?
I'm trying to cook supper at the same time.
And that makes you nervous, huh?
Holding on to the phone.
Holding on to the phone.
Just right.
Holding on to the phone. Which hand are you holding on to it?
Right hand.
Have you ever tried with your left hand?
Usually I do it with my right hand.
You know, most guys say it doesn't work with their left hand. Anyway, what is it you'd like to talk about?
Well, I'd like to talk about your bet with the girl there. I mean, it's very
Oh, my bet with the girl?
Right.
You call her the girl? Here we have a grown woman,
Well,
a mature lady, a voter. Well, she's a registered voter,
uh-huh.
pays taxes. She's overpaid, of course, but that's all right. We don't object.
Well,
You call her the girl. My vote with the girl. How do you like that?
Any woman doesn't mind being called a girl once in a while.
But you should see her legs, though. My heavens, what? And she shows them off here. She shows them off, but that's all right.
Okay, well, what I wanted to say is that
Nice tush, too. What?
your cholesterol might be doing all right, but after 5:30, I'm sure your blood pressure goes way up.
No, it doesn't. 118/74. Not bad.
That's terrific.
Huh?
Well, how do you do that and get mad at the same time?
How do I do it? I'll tell you what it is. It's my Calabrian grandmother gave me her genes. That's what it is. Now, it's Teresa Crabari Colucci willed me her genes. That's what it is.
Colucci, huh?
That was her, that was her name.
I can never make up my mind if you're Italian or Jewish. Half the time, I really haven't heard.
Well, why is it important?
It's
why
not
is it important?
important.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm an American. Maybe.
Right, well, so am I, for that matter.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about how angry you get after 5:30. That's
Angry?
why I said,
Me angry?
You blow your stack, you can't wait for the opportunity to tell someone off.
No,
And
you know,
people,
you're right. I did get angry. I remember. It was March 8th, 1973. I was very angry.
That's a daily basis, Bob. That's a daily basis. You don't have to do that with your show. You don't have to do that.
I don't get angry because I have to. I get angry because carbones make me angry. Speaking of carbones, Mary, I appreciate you calling.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was nice talking to you, Bob. I'm so glad you didn't hang up on me.
Why don't you show up at Lemaire? Have what's-his-name take you to Lemaire. After all, are you a mother?
I'm a mother.
All right. Instead of schlepping around on Mother's Day, where all the crowds are, why don't you go to Lemaire on Saturday night? I think we'll have a good... I'd like to meet you, Mary. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what I may do. I may ask you to dance. Would you like to dance with me, Mary?
Oh, I love to dance.
Really? I don't, but I'll do it, though. I'll sacrifice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well...
I like to watch dances, but I really...
Be there?
I think he probably will be there.
Uh-huh. Well, Danny knows me.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure he does. Anyway, listen, Mary, you're going to be there at Lemaire. Thank you.
Okay, Bob. Nice talking.
She's not going to be there, but she didn't have the couillons to say I'm not going to be there. No, she will be there. Mary will be there, and if she is, I'll introduce her to you. We go from Mary to Barry. Hello, Barry.
Yeah, Bob, good day to you. Hey, listen, I don't know if you have any plans tonight, but if I were you, I would plan on sticking by radio or TV tonight and watch or listen to Mayor Dinkins.
I won't be able to because I'll be out at the Mayfair Farms for a scholarship awards dinner that I've been asked to attend, so I won't be able to hear Dapper Dave.
Well, he's going to make, I believe, a specific reference to you, Bob.
He's going to make specific reference to me?
That's right.
I doubt it.
Well, you know, some of his aides have informed him that on your program you have been saying that he hasn't been handling the...
Would you speak up, please, Barry? We're losing you.
Some of his aides have informed him that on your program you have said that he hasn't handled the city crisis well.
Well, I'm not the only one, am I?
Well, of course, you know, there are those of us out there that agree with much of what you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, and this is through the grapevine, I just came out of City Hall this afternoon, that he will be making special reference to you, Bob.
Yeah, Barry, I don't know why you're using this shtick, but it's harmless. Thank you, Barry. I hope you get well.
Well, I just wanted you to know, Bob.
On WABC, 17 minutes before 6 o'clock. Sam, you're at WABC. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Bob. Sam. Bob.
I'm going to win my bet, Susan.
I want to ask you what's the solution for New York City budget deficit?
Solution? To take all the skunks we have in Rikers Island, put them up against the wall and shoot them. Get rid of all the criminals that we are supporting. That's number one. Another solution would be to sterilize all these brood sows that we find in various places in New York. Sterilize them so that they don't have any more illegitimate children. Those two factors alone would cure everything to everyone's satisfaction. We could even lower taxes.
But this is entirely unrealistic.
Well, of course it's unrealistic. That's why I say anything that would really work is called unrealistic. Thank you very much, Sam.
Bye-bye.
I understand that Sharpie Sharpton, that big fat slob, says Tawana Brawley lost nothing when a judge ruled against her in a defamation suit yesterday. The judge ruled that Tawana Banana defamed the Dutchess County prosecutor by falsely claiming he was one of 6 white men who abducted and raped her. But Sharpie Sharpton just said that she lost nothing. Of course she lose nothing. Not in Sharpie Sharpton's eyes, that big fat slob. Should we say hello to Lillian? All right, we'll do it. Hello, Lillian. You're on WABC.
Oh, my Lord. This first-time caller, Bob. Tremendous admirer. And how do you do? I have a problem with Joy Behart because she allows callers to bash you on her show.
Well, that's all right. Hey.
Yeah, well, I would like to bash her on yours, may I? This morning, she had this nonsense about, people that drink and drive, and they went on, and then she had this attorney who explained the whole situation, and, of course, it was the responsibility of the parent, and so the man had one drink. But she went on to say, and this was dichotomy, and with this liberalism, and I believe they're really just a lot of baloney, because everyone who drinks and drives, according to Miss Behart, should never be able to drive again, and if they are allowed within 5 years, that a sticker should be put on their car.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. I hate to agree with her, but
come on, fascism. This is the liberal fascism.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just
Come on, Bob.
I'm sorry, Lillian, but Lillian,
okay for welfare.
You're not going to get me angry, Lillian, because I want to win my bet. If Susan weren't as good looking as she is, I wouldn't care about winning the bet. I'd want to lose the bet, but in this case, I want to win the bet.
You will. I will not argue.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, but I want to tell you, isn't that really a dichotomy?
No, I don't think so.
These are bleeding hearts, let the criminal, and all of this. And then the poor guy, he has one drink and, put a sticker on the car for the rest of his life. Think about it. It's quite deep.
I really don't consider getting tough with drunk drivers to be a dichotomy, but I thank you for the call.
That's the point.
Thank you, Lillian.
Yeah, bye-bye, Bob.
And Arthur's checking in right now on the line from Queens. Yes, hello, Arthur.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Grant. I'd just like to say that I know the mayor listens to your program. If he can do something for a new scandal brewing in Queens about the water bills. It seems some people got them and some hasn't. And the people who hasn't, they get done for being late, where they never got a bill in the first place.
Well, that's true. That's the great irony. They don't get the bill. Just like the management of the condominium where I live. But I won't expose them yet because they may do the right thing. But you're absolutely right.
I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, bye, Mr. Grant.
Okay, so long, Arthur. Everybody's telling me the mayor listens to the program. I know he doesn't work very hard. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he puts in only 3 hours a day. He wants to spend 3 hours from 3 until 6 listening to the Bob Grant program. Dave, how's the show sound? You enjoying it? All right, who's here? John, hello.
One of the things I missed is my favorite Bob Grant quote. New York Yankees, the pride and the power. Oof-ah. Ain't heard that in a while.
When did they say the pride and the power? How long ago did they say
that?
That?
Probably 2 years ago, when they didn't have it hit then, but that's all right.
Yeah, well, it's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. I don't know. They've got me strapped in such an obscene long contract. I don't know if I'll ever work for another radio station, but if I ever do, I would ask them before I decided to sign, do you carry baseball on your station? If you do, I want no part of you. Anyway, that slams it. Thank you, John. I'll chat with you later. That slams the lid on things for today. I win the bet, Susan. I can't wait. Until tomorrow, Bob Grant reminding you your influence counts. Kill Saddam Hussein's a lousy scum. 6 o'clock. ABC News, I'm Doug Limerick. All right, let's get back to our telephones here. We have about 37 more minutes to go. And don't forget, tomorrow from 6 until 10, the best of Grant. Frank, you're on WABC with Bob Grant. Hello.
Hi, Bob. I'd like to make a comment on the interview with Joan Wood yesterday.
Yes.
When she made the statement that Lisa Steinberg would have been better off not being born, maybe she forgot that her stepson was an abused child and overdosed. Was she saying, in essence, that he might have been better off not being born?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Joanne Woodward, like so many people who are in motion pictures or on the stage, when you get them away from a script, they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I mean, because he abused drugs, so he abused himself.
Well, that's true. He did.
And so I guess, in essence, she's saying, and I hope she's listening to the program today, so she'll understand what she's talking about, because she don't understand what she's talking about.
No, she doesn't. Her argument in favor of abortion is absolutely absurd. The people who are in the vanguard of the pro-choice movement should tell Joanne, would you go home and study your lines and forget about being a spokesperson for our cause?
You're right. She's a great actress, but as a person, she's a zilch.
Yeah, and...
if you don't write it down, she can't say it.
She sounded pretty dumb yesterday. Pretty dumb.
She sure did.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed because I am a fan of hers.
Well, you know, I'll tell you something. I'm a fan of her performance.
Yes,
but as a political person, she stinks.
Yeah, you're right.
During the Robert Bork hearings, she was sending out letters, frantic letters, fanatical letters, hysterical letters. Very active in the lynching of Robert Bork. Thank you for the call, Frank.
You're welcome, Bob.
Jerry, you're at WABC. Hello.
Hello, Bob.
Yes.
Jerry from Franklin Square, Long Island.
Yes, Jerry.
How are you?
What's on your mind, Jerry?
I wish the tip I had off you that I pulled up in front of my house tonight to turn off the ignition, and that young lady was pleading for her life, kind of like what was going on here with the 3 killings and the suicidals on Long Island.
Yeah.
And Bob took his hat off, and you melted like I did. I'm going to be very honest with you, to tell your producer, your co-producer, to take this young lady's number, to hang on and see what we can do for her. Okay, but the second part of my story is, Bob, what the hell is going on with this Lisa Steinberg? Why are they stalling? What's with the jury? What kind of bullshit is going on?
Well, now watch your language. Watch your language. Watch it. Watch it.
But
listen, let me say this to you. If you follow any case, the Robert Chambers case, you follow the Lisa Steinberg case, you follow the Andre Nichols case, I could go on and on, you find that juries are not capable of rendering proper verdicts. You must remember that the pool of prospective jurors in New York is getting dumber and more politicized and more ignorant all the time. And that's why sleazeballs like to defend monsters like Joel Steinberg,
and all that.
because they know that they can manipulate these dopes on the juries. Now, this case is so clear-cut that the jury should have been out 5 minutes and back in instantly and say, we find this no good rat guilty of murder.
Absolutely. And if not him, her. You know, or both, or whatever.
Well, she was not on trial. She was not on trial. Didn't you know that?
No.
Okay, thank you for the call.
Okay, Bob, and thank you very kindly.
And let's say hello to Dawn. Hello, Dawn.
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
What's on your mind, Dawn?
Check it out, right? I started work this week, you know. I'm a 21-year-old, and I graduated from school and everything. Well, I got my check.
You graduated from what school?
Huh? It's Downtown Technical College.
Okay.
And, they gave me my check today, and they started freaking out, you know, because it was like really, really little check, you know, and I work from 7 in the morning till
You got a check, a paycheck?
It was literally
And you started freaking out?
So much tax out of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, I'm riding down the road, you know, on the way home, and I'm sitting here saying, I'm paying for these people's meals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I can't even pay my rent with this check, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I'm sitting here saying, what am I supposed to do, you know? I'm like, you know, it's crazy how much tax we got to pay for somebody else to feed, you know? What happens to my mouth to feed, you know? I mean...
Are we auditioning here? Is this... am I being... You know, is this a conspiracy here? I think it is.
It's not.
I think it is. I think you're a fake. Get off my phone. Eric, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hi, Bob. How are you? I said, how are you, damn it?
What's on your mind? What the hang up? I tell you, I gotta get out of here. This is dumb. Would you get one of the ABC attorneys down here at once? I want to look at my contract. Right now, let's say hello to, how about, well, Paul on WABC with Bob Grant. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Bob. Bob, I just finished jury duty, and I think the problem in this Joel Steinberg case lies in the fact, outside the fact that jurors are basically stupid people in New York, the fact that the reasonable doubt question, if there isn't a witness who actually saw it, jurors believe there's reasonable doubt.
Well, you know, when you have a victim, when you have Elisa Steinberg mutilated, tortured, beaten to death, when you have her crying from the grave for some kind of justice, what do you mean? What do you mean there's no evidence? You got a corpse, you got a dead girl. What are you talking about?
No, I agree with you 100%. I didn't say no evidence. There's
no cause for reasonable doubt.
You're right.
I can't believe this case. I can't believe the Chambers case. I couldn't believe the Andre Nichols acquittal. I think this jury system in this town is totally bankrupt. Larry Davis is exonerated for shooting at 9 policemen, hitting 6 of them, and he's found not guilty, but he is found guilty of gun possession. Come on.
Well, let me ask you a question. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I think the most ridiculous thing was the Andre Nichols case. He wasn't even convicted of an illegal gun that was his, that he admitted.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even go to jail for that.
So don't tell me there are any extenuating circumstances which in any way could ameliorate my contempt for those boobs we call jurors.
What do you think the solution is? I mean,
what is the solution? Well, the solution, there is no solution because we have the 8th Amendment of the Constitution. There's no way we can get around it. And as we slip and slide toward third worldism, it's because the quality of the people who inhabit this city are getting less and less civilized all the time.
Bob,
they don't care about Elisa Steinberg. They don't care about a Jennifer Levin. They don't care about victims.
Bob, how about professional jury?
Thank you for the call. How about professional juries? I just got through telling them the Constitution won't let us make any changes, and the jerk with the licorice in his mouth says, about professional juries. I can't stand it! Ralph, hello. Are you there, Ralph? Ralph's probably not going to talk because I shouted at the other guy. Never fails. Ralph, let me give you another chance. Ralph, hello. Ralph? Ralph. How about Nobly, Ralph? Joe, hello. Do we have Joe?
Yes, we do.
All right.
Yeah, Mr. Bob. What exactly is your opinion on black people?
Why are you asking?
Why am I asking? Well, let me give you a few examples. Well, just one for now. You were talking about Larry Davis just now. When Larry Davis uses a gun, you call it attempted murder.
He shot at 6 policemen. He shot at 9 policemen. He hit 6 of them.
And you call that attempted murder. When Bernard Goetz uses a gun, you call it heroism.
Well, Bernard Goetz was shooting at some thugs who were trying to mug him. Larry Davis was shooting at some police who had good reason to try to arrest him and bring him in because he murdered 4 other people. You can't compare the Goetz and the Davis case.
So basically...
I'm not even going to waste my time talking to you, you low-life jerk creep rat. Hello, Kathleen.
Hi, Bob.
Yes.
I'm Kathleen. This case with the Steinberg case really hit my heart.
Oh, I can't stand it. I'm afraid this jerk is going to walk or get off with a real light sentence.
I'm thinking he's going to walk away with not what he should get. But I have not understood why all this long time that they have never asked Joel Steinberg if he has sold that child for money.
Well, now, wait a minute. Hold it. Hold it.
Yeah.
The United States Constitution has a Fifth Amendment.
Yes.
And a person does not have to testify against himself. He has not taken the stand in his own defense.
I know.
Guilty people never do.
I know.
Only someone innocent wants to take the stand. When a person is not taking the stand, that's a clear sign they are guilty. And the prosecution cannot call him to the stand because of the Fifth Amendment, which Sidney Hook says we ought to get rid of. And you know what? I think Sidney Hook is right.
Right. But I'll tell you something. I have not ever watched anything as long, and it really gets to me. Every time I see the man, and as Mayor Koch said, he should be dipped in oil. I kiss Mayor Koch's feet for saying that, because that's exactly. Somebody asked Joel Steinberg, how do you feel? He said, I have a very nervous stomach. Who cares if he has a nervous stomach? He put a little innocent baby into the grave. I
would love to get my hands on him, you know.
Oh.
I would love to do it. I would tear his...
I just want to get that point across, how he got $3 million, Joel Steinberg, and he was only a half-wit lawyer. He seemed to be working all the time.
Thank you for the call, Kathleen.
His habit of cocaine with her and Nussbaum.
Right, thank you, Kathleen.
I'll see you. Thank you, Bob.
WABC time is 8 minutes now before 6 o'clock. Rick, you're on WABC. Hello.
The main reason why I wanted to call is because lately, I love your show, but lately it seems that you don't get enough people calling you that disagree with you, and I think the backbone of your show is controversy, and I think possibly if you can intimidate them a little less, maybe you can get more people to disagree and take an opposite view.
In other words, maybe we ought to have a gag hour one
No, you know something, I was going to bring that up. I don't think gag hours are fun every once in a while, but I think...
Well, that's the only way I can get them not to be intimidated when there's a gag hour. See, most people are basically cowards, and they fear that I will scold them, shout at them, whatever I do, remonstrate with them.
Well, how about if once a week, if you have a disagree with Grant hour, where only people can call to disagree with you? Because
well, you know, we don't have a priority here. We don't say if they disagree, don't put them on. Quite the contrary.
Right. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think you're not getting enough callers.
You like disputation. You like argument. You like other people to fight, huh?
Well, yeah, I think
you enjoy watching or listening to other people argue. Is that right?
I called. As a matter of fact, I was on the Best of Grant not long ago, and I took an opposite viewpoint.
Very good. Well, that slams the lid on things for today and for this week. Until tomorrow morning, when you can hear the Best of Grant at 6 a.m., this is Bob Grant reminding you your influence counts. Here's it. It's 6 o'clock.
From ABC News, I'm Doug Limerick. President Bush has sworn in James Baker as Secretary of State.
Bob, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yeah, hello. I like to talk about English as the official language and English only.
Yes.
I know how strongly you feel about it, which is why I think it's funny that you use all those Italian words and all those words.
But wait a minute.
Because you're a hypocrite.
No.
Get off my phone, you creep.
But it's not being a hypocrite at all to use a phrase in a foreign language. It's not speaking the foreign language. And he's gone. He hung up. He probably had an orgasm doing that. Shall we get back to our telephones? Indeed. Al, you're on WABC. I see nothing, absolutely nothing to joke about where Theodore Bundy's concerned. Absolutely nothing. Al, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hi, Bob. There's a few things I'd like to say, but as far as Miss Woodward, she happened to be...
Al, I'm getting a signal to ask you to speak up. You're being very...
Okay, I'll speak up, Bob. As far as Miss Woodward being pro-life and or pro-choice, rather, pro-choice. And she mentioned the president, or both of you mentioned the president with the Supreme Court. I wonder who in this country has more influence on the Supreme Court than the president, regardless how small it is, but who could have more. But nevertheless, one thing about George Bush, President George Bush, he mentioned read my lips. Well, just this past week, a poll was taken, I don't know, CBS, NBC, or somebody at the Times, I don't know, and they said 61% of the people polled were for pro-choice. Read my lips, read their lips. You say, okay, that's one thing. Bob, the next thing I want to talk to you is about Lee Atwater. He's the one also that said that people spoke. Well, people spoke on the other end too. But as far as when Reagan retired, he said he's going back to California, but he's not going to stop working. He's going to go throughout the land and try to get the Republicans, more Republicans into the fold. And, of course, it was mentioned on your program just now with Mr. Atwater that Bush is doing the same. And, of course, he's enthused about it. And
what is bothering you, Al? Something is bothering you.
Yes, if you're listening to me, I'll just tell you what's bothering me.
All right, there you.
Why not listen?
Have something in your shoe or something? I know you have something in your mouth.
I know.
And it's those loose teeth that keep rattling around. Get to the point, or I'll hang up on you.
Well, are you with me?
I'm with you, but you're going to lose me. Get to the point, or I'll hang up on you.
Well, the point is that if people are going to come into the Republican fold all over the country, and if we have a one-party system, don't you think it'll lead towards a dictatorship? Like
Get off my phone, you sick creep. Get out of here with your loose teeth. Jimmy, you're on WABC. Hello. Hello, Jimmy. You see, it never fails.
Hello, Bob.
It never fails, ladies and gentlemen.
Bob?
I got to stop hollering
Hello?
at people because when I do, the next guy doesn't want to come on. Jimmy, I won't holler at you. Hello, Jimmy.
Hello, Bob.
Yes, Jimmy.
Bob, see, Jimmy. I do have a problem right now. My wife just had an abortion.
Your wife had an abortion?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Last week. So what do you think about that, Bob?
Well, what do I think about that?
Yeah.
It's really none of my business if your wife had an abortion. It was, presumably she did that because that's what she wanted. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
What, you believe so?
Sure. What can I tell you?
Well...
I tried to get the right answer from you.
Jimmy, you called me. I don't know the reason for your call, but I said hello, and you told me your wife had an abortion, and you wanted to know what I thought about that.
Sure.
There are 1,400,000 abortions every year. Your wife is one of them for the year 1989. Do you want me to criticize? Do you want me to approve? Do you want my approbation, my opprobrium? What is it you want?
I just want your approbation.
I beg your pardon?
Never mind, Bob, never mind.
Listen, I'll tell you, maybe it's a good thing she did have an abortion, because if you're the father, half of the genes of the child would be yours. And wouldn't that be awful? Where are you from, Jimmy?
Well, I was born in France.
In France?
Yeah, my dad is German and my mom is French.
Uh-huh. Jimmy, may I ask your age?
I'm 36 years old.
36. And the missus, how old is she?
She's about 28 now.
About 28 now?
Yeah, I believe so. She's 28.
Okay, one question, and then I'll have to move over to our traffic center. Why did the missus want the abortion?
I'm sorry?
Why did she have the abortion, Jim?
I have no idea. She decided to get an abortion. I don't know.
You're the father.
Well, I believe I'm the father, but if she chooses...
And she just said, I'm going to have an abortion, and that was that?
I'm sorry?
Okay, thank you, Jim. On WABC 530, we're going to mercifully check in with Joe Nolan and Metro Traffic. All right, on WABC at 5:30. WABC at 5:30. WABC at 5:30. Here we are, WABC, and what's on your mind? Gary, hello.
Yeah, hi, Bob. Most European countries have legalized abortion, and there's no problem. When will this country stop listening to these fanatical right-wing,
Wait a minute, hold it.
born-again Christian kooks?
Wait a minute, hold it.
And get to, to their senses and realize this is evil.
I think you're way out of line, maligning all these people as fanatic, as right-wing kooks.
The majority of
and by the way, are you anti-Christian, Gary?
No, I am a Christian.
You are a Christian?
But this law...
What church do you go to, Gary? Gary, what church do you go to?
Who's helping the poor people?
What church do you go to, Gary?
Who helps the poor?
You lying, phony, fake creep. Get off my phone, you fake. Kevin, hello.
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
I love it when they say, how am I doing? What's on your mind, Kevin?
Hi, okay.
I'm calling, I'm sort of giving a rebuttal to what I heard Joanne Woodward say. And she had mentioned that, you know, a justification for abortion is that, well, there's going to be too many children born into a world that can't take care of them.
Yeah, see, Joanne Woodward wants to play God and determine who shall be born and who shall not be born.
Exactly. Now, you know, if you look at it from the other perspective, how do you know that there's children that aren't going to be born who are going to make a great contribution to society?
Well, that's true.
I mean,
look at all the people who, I'll tell you this, there are so many people. My producer, who will never get over it, and that's why he looks like he's sitting Shiva at all times, told me he was a mistake. Well, how many people out there weren't a mistake? How many people were told by their parents, oh, Jimmy, you're exactly what we wanted. We planned you, Jimmy. Many people have told me that they were, quote, mistakes, unquote. Now, if we had aborted all the mistakes, hey, you know, it might not be such a bad world after all. Because then there'd be very few people around. And I don't like a lot of people. I don't like crowds. See, I talk that way because I was told I was not a mistake. So there. I'm one of the few non-mistakes.
I think that most of us aren't. But just think...
Oh, dear me, I got to get out of here, really. I tell you, it's really getting to me. Really getting to me.
Okay, but you know, I just want to make one last statement there.
Of course, Kevin. This has no reflection on you. I don't want you to feel self-conscious because I'm talking this way.
Oh, yeah, okay. What I wanted to say was, you know, all these pro-choice people, just think, if there had been abortion 2,000 years ago, we could have killed Jesus Christ before he was born. I hope a lot of people are listening because that's something that I really think...
I've always heard Ludwig von Beethoven mentioned, but I never heard Jesus Christ mentioned.
I
mean, they used to use that about Beethoven, you see, because he was born under very unusual circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, how's things up in Mahopac?
Oh, terrific. The weather's a little lousy, but I suspect it's the same down there.
I like Mahopac because back in 1974, it officially became wall-to-wall Bob Grant country. Ugumbara from Yonkers.
Yeah, it's basically Yonkers in the Bronx now.
Yeah, Ugumbara from Yonkers has a son-in-law, a daughter, a couple of grandchildren. They live up in Mahopac.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Ugumbara won't call anymore. He's ashamed of whatever he's ashamed of. Hey, Ugumbara, where are you? Thank you, Kevin.
Oh, you're welcome.
On WABC, I have 22 more minutes of this agony left. Share it with me. Hello, Peter.
Hi, Bob.
Yes.
I just wanted to talk to you about this coach, John Thompson, who really...
You mean that big racist jerk, John Thompson?
Well, you know, you put your finger right on. I mean, can you imagine if a white coach recruited only white players and had a team with only... He'd be crucified the next day.
By the way, isn't it interesting that nobody dares note that when Carnes, who did it just to needle me, gave the picks of the NBA, and I couldn't care less about the NBA, but he gave the NBA All-Star team. Did you notice?
Not a single.
They all had two things in common. They were all basketball players.
Right.
And what else did they have in common?
They were all black.
Of course.
But, you know, I want to make another point.
But God forbid if it turned out the other way.
Sure.
God forbid.
I want to make another point, though.
Yes.
Is equally important. You know, his argument, Thompson's argument, is always that the SATs are culturally biased. Of course, then how can you explain the fact that Orientals do so well on it? For example, I mean, their culture is certainly as different from mainstream American culture as anybody's.
Well, why? That's a good question. People come here from India, they come here from Pakistan, they come from Korea, they come from China, they come from Taiwan, they come from Hong Kong, they come from virtually every spot on the globe, and they're able to do it.
Exactly right.
Why?
But I think the point that comes out of all this is as follows, that it's a matter of emphasis, and if people like Thompson, who is, by virtue of his position, a leader in that community, doesn't understand that unless he puts an emphasis on academic achievement rather than bouncing the ball in the schoolyard all day while other kids are going to school, they're never going to get any place. The blacks are not going to get any place. Now, Arthur Ashe, who's a world-class athlete, has said many times, you know, just by virtue of numbers, most black kids who are good athletes aren't going to make it to the pros.
Yeah, but he also, that's true, and Ashe also said if you want to play basketball or football or run track, you've got to hit the books. That's what, you know, he said that, he told students at the Kingswood Oxford School in West Hartford, Connecticut, where he was leading a seminar honoring Martin King.
Yeah.
And he also pointed out that 700 on the SAT exams is like a D average.
It's ridiculous. And you know what? And I think that when kids who look at Thompson and look at his program see what they think is what this guy thinks is important, they say, hey, the hell with this. I'm going to get there no matter what. I don't even have to talk right.
Right.
And I'm going to get there. And that's wrong. And that's why I think that a lot of young black kids who are good athletes, but simply by virtue of the numbers, are never going to make it to the NBA or to the NFL, etc., just are left with nothing.
But listen, you're losing sight of something that transcends everything. Schools are not there so that people can have a vehicle for getting into the NBA or the NFL. That isn't why we have a school system.
That's absolutely. You know, I went to one of the special high schools in New York City, in the 50s, Bronx High School of Science. Now, there were black kids in those schools who were absolutely the best, top quality kids.
Well, you know why they were the best? Because Bronx School of Science had criteria, had standards. And in those days, we didn't destroy the standards if certain minority groups couldn't live up to them.
I run into these people now. They're all doctors and lawyers. And you know what they do with their kids? They send them to private school. They have the same values that the rest of the society has. And they don't want their kids not learning either,
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate everything you've said.
Take care.
Thank you. It's, let's call it 18 minutes before 6 o'clock. Let's try to squeeze in as many telephone calls as we can before we slam the lid on things for tonight and pave the way for Bill Bresnan. But right now, Ron, you're on WABC. Hello. Hello, Ron.
Yes, Bob, I have a question for you. I'm asking this question for two reasons. Do you have a multiple personality disorder?
I suspect I have some kind of disorder. Now, whether it's a multiple personality or strictly an old-fashioned orthodox schizophrenic condition, I'm not sure.
Well, I had two reasons for asking that. First, you seem to run hot and cold and lukewarm. And the second reason is they pay you too much. So I figured that they're paying you too much.
Oh, no, compared to what these jerk so-called disc jockeys get, I'm paid way too little.
Well, what do you want to be paid?
Just pay me what these no-talent bums get paid who are on some of these FM stations in the morning. That's all.
Well, they do a good job.
Oh, really? How would you know?
I listen to them.
Oh, you listen to them?
Yes.
And then in the afternoon you listen to me?
No, I'm forced to listen to you.
You're forced to? Who forces you?
My brother in the back.
Your brother in the back?
To you day in and day out. And I don't have my own radio, and I'm obliged to listen to you.
You don't have much of anything, do you?
Well, I have sense.
Yeah. You're auditioning. I can tell when a guy's auditioning. You know that?
I love you.
Oh, you love me?
Yeah, you're a good guy.
Well, all right, listen, I'll tell you what, I want you to be my agent. I want you to talk to John Manelli.
Is he on the line?
No, he's not on the line. He's sitting in his office, listening probably very closely, biting his fingernails. That's what program directors do, they bite their fingernails.
More money.
The guy, he's a typical program director. He's only 24 years old and already he's gray.
Then he's getting more money than you.
That I don't know.
All right.
No, knowing the general manager around here, I doubt it.
All right, take it easy.
All right, thank you.
Good show.
All right.
Take it easy.
Joel, you're on WABC. Hello. Do we have Joel here? I don't understand. On other programs, the guy says hello, and the other people say hello. But not on my program.
I'm sorry, okay? Don't holler at me, okay? I love you, okay? I think you're great, and I only have one question for you, okay?
I want to talk about Teddy Kennedy. What baffles me about it is that how can a state senator who should be behind bars be a state senator? I'm talking about the thing with Kopechne.
Yeah, well, it's because, first of all, he's not a state senator. He's a United States senator, which makes it even more incredible. But if you read Teddy Bear or the more recent book, Senatorial Privilege, you will read that because of the Kennedy power up there in Massachusetts, the inquest was not conducted the way it would be if it were you or I who had lied, who had tried to deceive the people. He left the scene. It was said by one of the observers Teddy Kennedy not only left the scene of the accident, he left the scene of the crime. For surely it was a crime that caused Mary Jo Kopechne to go to her watery grave under the Dykeman Bridge.
Do you think the government can reopen the case?
No, I don't. He was not charged. You see, there's no statute of limitations on murder. He was not charged with murder. He was not even charged with manslaughter. He was not charged with anything. Because he's a Kennedy, and it happened in Massachusetts.
Well, if any schmo does something like that, they'll be arrested and put in jail automatically.
Well, if it were any schmo, we'd probably be noticing that he was just released from prison after serving 20 years.
Okay.
Because it happened 20 years ago, the 19th of July.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Not at all. Thank you. Shoshana, you're on WABC. Hello.
Thank you. I've never done this before. I just want to tell you that you have enlightened me so. Being a mother of a very large family, it's very hard at night to read, and you've just enlightened me as I make dinner every night, and I just appreciate everything you say.
Well, I appreciate what you just said.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Not at all. Thank you, Shoshana. I never talked to anybody by the name of Shoshana before.
Well, you stay right there, Chris. I want to explore this further. And ladies and gentlemen, you just tuned in talking to Newsmax.com's Chris Ruddy. And I want to ask him about Senator Kerry's outrage. I also want to ask him about the idiotic statement that Bill Clinton made, which to me amounts to, well, I hate to use the word treason, but maybe it's just stupidity. Maybe too much Monica has drained him of what little brains he had to begin with. Straight ahead. Returning now to our conversation with Chris Ruddy of Newsmax.com. In your publication dated April 9th, 2003, you say, Clinton's bizarre claim, Bush plotting to invade North Korea. You say that ex-President Bill Clinton's attacks on his successor reached a new low last week when he told a University of Florida audience that President Bush was planning to invade North Korea. I know we have learned to expect a bizarre conduct on the part of Bill Clinton, but isn't this a very dangerous statement he's making?
Well, it is, and I want to point out, Bob, this is something on Newsmax.com that Carl Limbacher, our great writer, discovered. And again, you know, the press should be all over this. First of all, what is a former president doing, speaking out so actively and vocally about current events? It used to be protocol that the former president would allow the new president to run the government and basically set policy, and not have some former president sniping at him all day long. But what's worse is that this gentleman, Bill Clinton, is not only going around undermining the president, I mean, almost from the day 9/11 happened, he was out attacking the Bush plan, blaming the Republicans in one way or another. Remember, he gave that speech at Georgetown blaming America's treatment of the Indians for why the Muslims dislike us. And then he goes out, and apparently he's very active in phone calling foreign leaders, people like Nelson Mandela, Kofi Annan, Tony Blair, the King of Saudi Arabia. He's been in contact with all these individuals. As this president, George Bush, is trying to fight a war and create a global alliance, and it's very clear Clinton is not supportive of the Bush policies. So nothing really surprises me from this fellow. What surprises me is the lack of indignation from the liberal media or the conservative media, for that matter.
Yeah, that's a great point. But as I believe Carl Limbacher pointed out, and even before I read what Carl had written, I said to my audience, this is very dangerous because it could give this maniac Kim Jong-il an excuse to launch a missile in our direction.
Well, it's clear that this guy is a borderline personality, Kim Jong-il. He's quite capable of starting a war. Why would this former president be pouring gasoline on the situation? He knows that his comments are taken very seriously throughout the world. The last thing we need is a war in Korea, because it's not going to go the same way as a war in Iraq has gone. And they apparently do have nuclear devices now, which Iraq apparently did not have. But again, he and his wife are out there second-guessing the commander-in-chief. They had their time in their Oval Office, and they're not so happy about the fact that a Republican is in the White House, and they're trying to desperately undermine the current president.
Well, I suspect it's for two reasons. One, that Bill Clinton is just the type of very strange individual that he is, a vicious gutter snipe, a disgrace. And secondly, his wife is running for president. Come on, let's face it.
I was just out in Los Angeles, Bob, with a mutual friend of ours, David Horowitz. And David told me he has no doubt that Hillary is running. He thinks it's 2004. He thinks there's no one really in the left that the left really trusts in the Democratic Party and with the money contacts to pull it off. And interestingly, Carl Limbacher is going to have a book out called Hillary's Scheme in the next couple of months, describing her long-term and short-term plans to become president and to get back into the White House.
You've got some interesting, although disturbing, things in the publication. What is this? Of course, I shouldn't be surprised, and she doesn't even warrant any kind of discussion, but I have to ask you about Jane Fonda saying the world hates ignorant America. First of all, it didn't look like they were hating us over there in Baghdad today.
You know who hates America, Bob? It's self-hating liberals. Limousine liberals like Jane Fonda. They hate America. And that's why they like to see us hurt, our level and status in the world diminished. I think it's probably true that most people in the world love Americans. They certainly love our culture. They want to imitate it in so many ways.
They're breaking their necks to get in.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you think about the Cubans risking shark-infested waters to get over here, are doing some, look at the Chinese coming in boatloads that packed in like sardines into those ships to get here. I mean, it's even more difficult than it was in the immigrant days in the 1800s, etc. And so there are people, obviously there's a lot of people that dislike us as well, but when you have people like Jane Fonda sort of confirming them, there's obviously, we saw a real divide in Europe. Most of Europe was with us, but the French elitists were against us. The Germans opposed us, but I wouldn't say they were against us. They didn't actively work against us.
Yep.
But the French elitists, which find comfort from people like Jane Fonda, they oppose us. Now, America needs to remember who our enemies were. We have short memories, Bob.
Yep.
We've got to remember the Canadians were not there with us. Our Mexican buddies south of the border in Mexico, they were not for us.
Yeah.
In fact, they told us they would not support us in the Security Council. We need to remember this.
Well, let's hope we do, and with your help and my help and people like David Horowitz, people like that, maybe we will keep the American people from forgetting. Chris, I look forward to broadcasting from Newsmax headquarters in about a month and a half or so.
Well, we look forward to having you here, and we think it'll be one of our more exciting events down here.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you, Bob.
Chris Ruddy of Newsmax.com. Ladies and gentlemen, how about this? Dave Spencer of WOR News.
This is an update from WOR News on the war in Iraq.
Well, their hour of freedom at hand, jubilant Iraqis celebrating the collapse of Saddam Hussein's murderous regime. They beheaded a toppled statue of their longtime ruler in downtown Baghdad in front of TV cameras that broadcast it to the world, and they embraced American troops as liberators. But there's continued combat in cities to the north. The government troops are under attack from U.S. and British warplanes still. And, of course, there's still no sign, one way or the other, of Saddam Hussein and some of the top officials who mysteriously vanished as if on order today. Nary a sign of them.
Herb, you're on WABC. What's on your mind?
Well, in case this hasn't been noted on your program already, I want to say that it seems to me that
one of the main reasons for the corruption of the local school boards in New York City is that, well, like everywhere else, the boards are elected by people in the district.
How do you feel about the fact that apparently 3 double-gated freaks were elected to the school board?
Didn't know about that.
Elected to the in the election the other day, yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Liz is on the line from Montclair. Yes, hello, Liz.
Why do you feel you can make negative remarks about the illegal alien problem, about Christie and Kerry, and the 3 gubernatorial candidates are not supposed to make negative comments or factual comments about each other?
I think there's a big difference in discussing the illegal alien situation in this country as opposed to candidates hurting their own party and their own chances in a general election.
I disagree. Because they are picking up things that are true about each candidate, and each candidate is trying to say, I am the one who can beat Florio. This person has a problem. And that is what, if you've forgotten, you said about the illegal alien. You were just crazy to have anybody come in, whether it was you didn't care who came in. You said they were lamed, maimed, damaged goods.
What's your problem? What's your problem, Liz? Is your problem that your guy Walwork is not going to win?
I didn't mention Jim Walwork.
Well, you don't have to. It's so obvious. And
well,
besides,
I don't think it was at all.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
hey, listen, why don't you grow up sometime? Why don't you grow up, for heaven's sake? Who the heck? You know, the last time you called, I let you abuse me and say a lot of things. I was trying to be very gracious about it. But you know something? You don't deserve that kind of reaction from me. How does that grab you?
Doesn't bother me at all.
All right, Phil, you're on WABC. Hello.
Hi, Bob. I really appreciate the program. I just want to make 2 short observations, and then I'm going to get off the phone. Today, I got in the mail a letter dated February 14th, 1972. My wife, may she rest in pieces, sent me this letter.
Wait a minute. Are you doing shtick, Phil? Are you doing a comedy routine?
No, not at all.
My wife, may she rest in pieces?
In peace, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Yeah, my wife died about 4 years ago.
What is your call about? What is the nature of your call, Phil?
Bob, I want you to hear me out.
I'll tell you what you ought to do. Call Stuttering John and have a conversation, will you? He's doing shtick, auditioning. This is not audition time. John, you're on WABC. Hello.
Yes, Bob. How you doing? Listen, Bob, I got news for you. The 3 gubernatorial candidates that you had on the air today, neither one of them could beat Jim Florio. What I'd like for you to do is to give Jim Florio equal time. And
you don't have to give. You don't give a guy equal time. He's not in the Republican primary.
Well, he's a Democrat, and he's
not in the Republican primary. You 2-bit dope. Let's say hello to Joe checking in on the line from Long Island. Hello, Joe.
Yeah, hi. How you doing? You know, I've been listening to this radio station with the Rush Limbaugh and you guys, the conservatives, and it seems.
Hey, listen. Let me tell you something, Joe.
You're gonna yell at me right away, what?
No, let me tell you something.
Yeah. I mean, you don't.
Let me tell you something, and then you can talk. Joe, do you want to talk?
Yeah.
But just let me say one thing.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I do the Bob Grant Show.
Right.
I'm responsible only for my views, which are aired from 3 to 7. I happen to like Rush. I think he's a great guy and a fantastic talent.
Oh, Rush is a very convincing man, but I want
wait a minute, let me finish. Otherwise, I'll hang up on you. You have a choice. Either let me finish or hang up.
Well, that seems to be the only choice you got.
All right, so you let me finish.
What kind of choice is that?
You want to let me finish?
Go ahead.
One more interruption and I'll hang up on you because you're nothing but a 2-bit worm.
You don't know that.
Yeah, I can tell by the way you're conducting yourself.
No,
anyway, there's no need to mention what anybody else says. I am not responsible for what anybody else says. Okay?
I want to tell you.
I do the Bob Grant Show, period. You got it?
I just want to say one thing. I want to tell you, listening to something. And all you conservatives out there that are listening to these shows, and these guys make so much sense. I want to tell you something. You know, the liberals in this country, we've worked very hard to keep the country safe in certain positions. For example, there was a time in this country and in the real world where the police would come rushing in your door, beat you up, and there'd be no place to turn. And there are a lot of little rules and little things that you think liberals are creating or bringing down havoc upon the universe that are there for a very reason.
Havoc on the universe? My heavens, how dramatic. I don't think they're bringing havoc upon the universe. I just think that many of the... get off the phone, you little skunk. Am I wasting time with him? How ridiculous. I'll lower myself to try to have a discourse with that guy. He's incapable. Pam, you're on WABC. What's on your mind?
Well, I heard you speaking about Chris Fedorov and Don Quealy, and I think that he's a very brave person. I think that he did the right thing, and he should be congratulated. There's one thing that I'd like to take issue with you about, however, in your treatment of the subject. It seems to me that Dawn Quealy is just one of many single mothers in the city and all over the country who are raising...
Precisely my point.
Right.
Precisely my point. God bless you, Pam. You got it. I think she's got it.
Right.
She's got it. She's just one of many, and that's what's killing us.
Right. Okay. And the point is that the fathers of the children of these single mothers are both black and white. There are many white fathers
in this case,
live with the
okay. Are you black?
No.
Okay. Well, then why do you feel it necessary? Why do you feel defensive about the fact that the father of this 2-year-old is black?
Well, he's a father who's not with his child for whatever reason, and
for whatever reason, he shacked up. They had sex. There was a conception. She had a child. And where the hell is the father? Where is he?
I agree with you.
Did he come into?
I also agree with you when you say that racial bias accusations can sometimes be misused. I just think it's inflammatory to raise this in a racial context. It happens with both races. That's what I'm saying. It's inflammatory when black people accuse white people of racism that did not exist. It's also inflammatory when white people put things in a racial context that should not be.
A lot of times things are in a racial context, only we're so afraid of our own shadows, we pretend like it's otherwise.
I think this is a problem that affects all the cultures and all the races.
You're so worried. You're so worried about being politically correct.
No, I'm
Yes,
not.
you are. You feel... okay, she giggles. I despise giggling. Somebody got a feather up her... Let's say hello to Peter on WABC. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, Bob. How are you?
What's on your mind?
Listen, I'm an avid listener of your show. I think my problem is I work until 4, but I run to my car, and the minute I get there, I turn on the radio even before I turn on the ignition, so I don't miss any of your golden words.
Oh, you missed the opening editorial every day.
I know.
I'm going to have to start asking the gentleman of distinction at the controls, the Honorable Sidney Simon, to record these, and then perhaps we can play them later for people like you.
Wonderful. Or even start your show at 5 o'clock. Well, I guess you wouldn't like that, though.
Oh, I wouldn't mind. Sign on 5, then sign off at 6. That'd be great.
I was thinking of signing off at 9. Anyway, Bob.
Yes.
I was curious if you noticed the similarities between the Wappinger Falls case and the Howard Beach incident. Obviously, with El Supremo involved in both and the Three Stooges involved in both. For instance, Mr. Cuomo embraced the Three Stooges there in Wappinger Falls for hours and hours and pandered to them to pick special prosecutors and so on and so on. And now it's becoming evident that there was really no crime there. However, in Howard Beach, if you recall, Mr. Maddox was adamant, and he still is to this day, saying that Dominic Bloom was part of, quote, posse, unquote. In other words, he says that Dominic Bloom had dinner with his girlfriend and this other couple, dropped the other couple off, got on the Bell Parkway, revved up his car to 55 miles an hour at precisely the time his friends were throwing somebody in front of it. It was the most absurd, illogical thing you've ever heard in your life. But the case still proceeded in Howard Beach because of judges and special prosecutors. And
by the way, I got a letter from John Lester. I'm going to see if I can find it and read that letter tomorrow on the air. You can't believe that a person depicted as a monster, the way he has been depicted, could write such a letter. Neat handwriting. I mean, I will share it with you tomorrow.
That's wonderful. Obviously, anybody who deserves 30 years in virtual solitary confinement is akin to Hitler. I don't...
I have looked. As a matter of fact, I've had I have many lawyer friends, and I said, listen, I want you to scour the books, see if anybody in a comparable case, or even lesser or a worse case, but anything remotely comparable, got 2 successive, not concurrent, but consecutive terms of this nature. They can't find a single one anywhere.
Now, just
As a matter of fact, they found many cases where people actually shot somebody or stabbed somebody to death, and they did an average of 6 years, 8 months. 6 years, 8 months. Here's a guy supposed to rot in Attica for 30 years.
Well, thank God for the appeal system, and I pray that the appeals judges are not politically motivated and read the facts of the case, because it's frightening what went on there.
Well, they intimidated everybody in sight, and let us hope that Il Supremo, that smug, arrogant Il Supremo, is not able to get to the appeals judges and order them to lynch the way he ordered his stooge, his chief honcho, his trigger man, Hines, and then, of course, DeMarcos, who's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, let's pray.
Mr. Davitt, if you're listening, those are my opinions. Those are valid opinions, Mr. Davitt. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Peter. 10 minutes now before 6, and here's another Peter. We have a string of Peters here. Peter. Are you there, Peter? Hello, Peter. Okay. And it's an interesting thing again. On the New Jersey line, people just don't have the same patience. People are so patient in New York and Connecticut, but New Jersey, they're so impatient. Susan, hello.
Hi. This is along the same vein as the last caller. I was wondering, what is that young man from Howard Beach facing? What sort of a sentence, what sort of a thing is he having to plead to?
Plead?
What charges? Is it like manslaughter or murder?
What do you mean plead? They convicted him. He's in jail. They wouldn't let him out on bail on the appeal. What are you talking about?
Was it manslaughter or murder?
It was manslaughter.
It was first degree?
Well, it was manslaughter. First degree, but...
Okay, well, that's ridiculous, because I just noticed in our local paper up here, and I was just wondering how that compared with his sentence or any of those young men's sentences, because I noticed there was an article, just a little blurb today about 2 young men in New York City who happened to carve a homeless man to death slowly with a steak knife.
Yeah, I read that.
Did you read that?
Sickening.
They were charged with first-degree manslaughter.
Absolutely.
What is murder anymore? If it takes 10 minutes to kill somebody and to say,
Well, you know, the whole thing is broken down. Take this Robert Chambers jury. What the heck are they doing there? What is there to figure out? They want to know if she was beaten. She wasn't beaten. She was killed. She's dead. They want to know how long it took her to die. What is all that? What's going on here?
We're losing our minds, that's what.
Absolutely. If I were Jennifer Levin's father, I don't know what the heck I'd do. I don't know if I could handle all this. I really don't. My heart goes out to them.
Yeah, me too. But I just choked when I read this one today. You take 10 minutes, over 10 minutes to slowly carve up a person and you get charged with manslaughter. That's crazy.
And they won't do anywhere near the hard time that John Lester's doing.
It says they're facing up to 18 years.
Yeah, up to. Thank you for the call.
Thank you.
And let's say hello to Ed on the New Jersey line. Yes, Ed.
How you doing, Bob? I'm calling to talk to you about the concern about where the country's headed.
Yes.
You know, the Jackson candidacy and what you said yesterday about AT&T's pandering to minorities.
Yes.
I've got to confess, Bob, that I've been listening to you for about 3 or 4 months, and I was alarmed and upset for most of the time. And then it's begun to dawn on me that you're one of the best things that could have ever happened to us in terms of radio talk shows. A few years ago, maybe 20 years or so ago, the people who call your show and who are so concerned about the Jackson candidacy and all of that, where the country's headed, well, those are the same folks who would have had to put on white sheets and would have had to attack blacks by night. With your show, at least we have the opportunity now of letting those sick minds vent their anger, and so they don't have to shoot people down in the street and mug and lynch people in the dark.
I think
you're one of the best
Ed.
things that Jesse's
Hey, Ed.
in New York.
Ed, I think you're a sleazy jerk, Ed.
Well,
let me tell you right out. You're a sleazy jerk. And you notice the way this jerk keeps talking. I try to respond to his snide sarcasm, and he keeps talking. But hey, stupid, I pushed a button on you because you wouldn't shut up. How dare you? How dare you suggest that because someone disagrees with you, that because someone isn't going to roll over and play dead for you and your black racist corps of Panzer Division, that makes us KKK or people in white sheets or someone who would resort to shooting anybody. How dare you, you jerk. Joe, hello.
Hi, Bob. Joe from Elizabeth. Yes, Bob.
Yes, Joe. I'm listening, Joe.
Okay, guys. Last night I was watching C-SPAN, and they had the Equal Opportunity for Higher Education on, and they had a guy by the name of William Gray speaking, and he spoke pretty well for the organization. And one of the things he was saying was that they want better education for the minorities, because it was a minority group, of course. On the other hand, I listen to your show, I read in the paper about colleges lowering the standards for minorities and athletes to get into their schools. So isn't that a contradiction between what they want and what is happening?
Of course it's a contradiction.
Sure it is.
How does this grab you? The Port Authority means business for New York, New Jersey minority firms. Over and over again, wherever you look. Minority this, minority that, minority this, minority that. And then that jerk that was on just ahead of you has the gall to make those outrageous charges.
That's crazy.
I thank you for the call. Thank you very much. It's 5 o'clock. Bob Grant here reminding you the best in talk radio is as easy to remember as ABC. WABC New York, Talk Radio 77.
Good afternoon, everyone. In Midtown Manhattan, 66 degrees. We have sunny skies. I'm Roger Skibinis, WABC Talk Radio News. This report at 5 brought to you by the New York Times. There may be...